Hello and welcome to Memo Anime Recaps. Do not forget to like and subscribe. In the opening scene, an explosion goes off in the middle of a city. Armored tanks fire into the sky, and more explosions occur as large buildings collapse, causing chaos. Amid the wreckage, a little boy wanders in tears, calling for his parents. Suddenly, a young girl calls out to Iken, the little boy who's watching the aircraft from behind. She tells him to look at her whenever he's in trouble, and that she will always be there for him. She hugs him, assuring him that he's not alone, and tells him to close his eyes so he can wake up to peace. The largest unknown aircraft shoots an energy beam into the city, causing a massive explosion and destruction. Now grown, Iken, whose real name is Ichiya Suzaku, stands at the edge of a large body of water as he receives an emergency alert about unknown entities approaching a sector, along with a girl's voice asking for his location. Ichiya touches his neck and activates some advanced features on his left arm and right hand. He quickly flies toward the unknown aircraft, attacking and destroying them. 3 female students fly to him on their flying sticks, 2 of them carrying another on a platform. The girl on the platform, Canaria, asks Ichiya why he always fights alone, and she continues chatting until she accidentally falls off the platform into the water below. Ichiya stands outside a small seaside house while Canaria takes a hot shower inside. They talk about seniority, age, and some trivial topics. Canaria then brings up his lack of teamwork and the school's reputation as she dresses, and they head toward a train station. The other 2 girls helping Canaria fly salute them, but Ichiya ignores them while Canaria smiles back. They both board a train that will take them to their meeting location. As the train starts moving, Canaria asks him to be a little friendlier with the other students, but he declines with some excuses. Ichiya reads a book while Canaria eats her lunch on the train. The train stops at another station, and they get off to be scanned by the personnel in charge, who greets them afterward. Ichiya respectfully responds, which prompts Canaria to ask why he's nice to adults, but not to other students as they walk in. He replies that adults are his heroes for providing a way to fight the unknowns. They enter the South Kanto Tri-City Defense Liaison meeting, where they're welcomed by Hime. Ichiya ignores her and heads to his seat while everyone begins discussing ranks. He confronts the subhead of Chiba City, Kasumi Chigusa, for not being in the top 100 ranks. Kasumi tries to dodge Ichiya's taunts by calling him Iken, the nickname Canaria usually uses. This angers Ichiya, who shoots a frustrated look at Canaria. Regional management officers Eri Unami and Gotoku Asanagi then enter the meeting room to start the meeting. Outside the meeting building, Canaria asks Ichiya why he rejected the cooperation plan. He tells her that he can't cooperate with the idiots from Kanagawa and the scum from Chiba, asserting that he is all they need. She asks if he remembers what happened between the day of the disaster and the day she woke up. He tells her that he was dreaming the whole time, and that he's still having that dream, where he sees himself crawling, something heavy weighing him down while everything he cares about is taken from him. He keeps talking about the disaster as he remembers it before going into cold sleep. He raises his hand, discussing the power humanity has now and his own power to control gravity, along with Canaria's uplifting abilities. He also mentions that they won't let the unknowns catch them off guard again, since they've tapped into their world powers, going on and on about being heroes who will protect the world. Canaria, who has been listening, smiles and starts to sing a tune. Suddenly, an emergency announcement comes in about a large-scale unknown attack. Ichiya grabs Canaria and jumps off the building, activating his powers to fly toward the unknowns while Canaria continues to scream. At the defense line, students from Chiba and Kanagawa begin firing at the unknown aircraft, which officials keep scoring points on. The head of Kanagawa rallies her members on a ship to intercept the unknowns. Ichiya arrives, holding Canaria in the air as he lands on the edge of a tall building, sets her down, and prepares to head to the front line. Canaria starts singing, and every student in the area is fortified, while the injured begin to heal. Ichiya immediately jumps into the front line, attacking the unknown aircraft as the other students keep firing. He gets annoyed when he sees Chiba's subhead, Kasumi, disturbing him from her sniper position while he fights the unknowns. Meanwhile, a call comes in from the head of Chiba, informing her of the current situation, where students from different districts are battling each other for points due to how weak the enemies are. Haim, feeling down about this, decides to end the fight while Chiba head. Asuha tells her members to retreat immediately into the train or risk being left behind. Haim becomes serious, unleashing a powerful attack to eliminate the remaining enemies, while the other students pull back to avoid getting caught in it. Ichiya quickly carries Canaria and some other girls as he flies away from the area too. After the battle, Gotoku approaches the heads and subheads, expressing his anger over the destruction of the aqua line caught in Hime's attack. The subheads from Kanagawa and Chiba try to blame Ichiya, who gets really agitated as they keep saying what they want. Canaria attempts to encourage everyone to get along while Gotoku yells at them for being irresponsible. Eri summarizes the whole situation, talking about the abilities known as the world and their never-ending fight to protect it from the unknown. This scene starts with Kasumi giving a summary of their situation before and during the disaster and how they managed to survive in the cold room. In a market setting, students are buying items from each other while some are advertising their new products. Asuha is eating the fruits Kasumi bought and then uses her cute little sister charm to get him to buy her another. He gives in and goes to get her one more. A call from Eri comes through on his phone, but Asuha rejects it by turning off the phone. At the Tri-City Liaison meeting, Gotoku assigns the heads and subheads the mission of guarding the engineering students who are coming to repair the partially destroyed aqua line. He also mentions the rumor circulating about an unidentified presence that has been appearing. Eri notes that the rumors have frightened the engineering students too much to work, and although she tried to contact them to decide who would guard the engineers, none responded. Gotoku and Eri designate them all to be the guards for the engineers. At the train station, the heads and subheads begin discussing how to carry out their duty before the blame game starts. Canaria does an embarrassing cheer to stop the arguing just as the engineering students arrive at the station. They decide to split into two groups using rock, paper, scissors. Hime, Asuha, and Canaria's team stay on the upper level to assist the engineers, while Kasumi, Hotaru, and Ichiya's team remain on the lower level. The team on the upper level helps the engineers, some of whom admire their powers, but an accompanying adult tells the engineers they are also impressive since they depend on the girls' abilities, which are allowing the work to go twice as fast. Meanwhile, in the lower area, the three struggle to work together, slowing down the engineers' progress as the guys argue over every little thing, while Hotaru tries to speed up so she can return to Hime. During the break period, Gotoku, dressed as if he's on vacation, comes to greet them on a ship as they gather to eat. Hotaru goes back to Hime's side, while Kasumi joins his sister, and Ichiya and Canaria find a spot to eat. Gotoku encourages them to eat, explaining that the food was prepared by the girls from Kanagawa School, and that the ingredients were provided by Chiba School before they all begin eating. One of the servers tells Hime and Hotaru about how they prepared the meal. Kasumi asks her for a hot towel to wipe his hands. She turns to Eri, calling her mom, but stops short, embarrassed. Ichiya asks her name while she's serving him, and she replies, Aoi Yagaki, prompting Kasumi to throw a hot towel at him. An annoyed Ichiya attempts to confront Kasumi, but is held back by Canaria, who tells him that he's to blame. Asuha looks at her brother with a concerned expression while he eats. After they finish eating, Gotoku meets up with them and tells them he's ready to give them their next mission. He drops a bag of swimsuits and informs them that the rumor about the unidentified unknown has been confirmed, and it can't be ignored, even if there haven't been any injuries. Canaria points out that there's usually an announcement when unknowns first appear, and Gotoku calls Yaoi over, while Hotaru explains to Ichiya how Aoi's world works and tells him to prepare himself, although he's worried about remembering her name. They all spot a boy on patrol coming toward them. In a first-person view, he kisses them, and then they notice something strange in the sea. Both Kasumi and Ichiya cringe at what they just witnessed, a kiss from a guy. Aoi apologizes while Gotoku continues, saying that some other students have seen the unknown emerging from the sea and fleeing underwater. He wants them to quickly explore the ocean and deal with the unknown lurking there. They all put on the swimsuits they received. Gotoku asks how long they can stay underwater and filters out Kasumi, who can't hold her breath for long, and Canaria, who can't swim. The rest jump into the sea, as Gotoku gives them instructions from a shelter along with the others. Kasumi swims to a rock at the edge of the ocean, lies down, and puts his ear against the water. Ichiya, seeing him, swims over but gets shot at by Kasumi. When he reaches Kasumi, they talk about the situation as Ichiya helps by tossing a stone into the ocean to create vibrations for scanning. He spots Hotaru, Hime, his sister, Asuha, and the unknown going after her, and he immediately shoots at it. Asuha, almost being attacked by the unknown, swims to the surface, thinking about her brother. Ichiya talks about Kasumi's ability, comparing his world ability to a vampire bat's, which Kasumi asks him not to name weirdly. They continue their conversation casually, without fighting or insulting each other, making Canaria smile as she watches them. In the evening, the heads and subheads discuss the incident and how the administration failed to notice the unknown. Aoi tells them to leave it to Gotoku and Eri. Kasumi and Asuha sit across from each other, stealing glances and looking away. Asuha quietly thanks him, but he pretends not to hear and tells her to say it 5 more times, while she feels embarrassed from his teasing, asking her to repeat it in front of the others who watch them. Some men arrive to inform Eri that they've secured the remains of the unknown, and she instructs them to send it to the administration headquarters. Gotoku talks with her about the possibility of the enemy discovering their weaknesses, or knowing the layout of their barrier, which Eri responds to by saying they may need to raise the alert level around the no-entry zone, hoping the kids with world powers won't give up. In a church, Gotoku sits on a pew, sipping from a can when Eri walks in to tell him it's time. She apologizes to Mahiru Okuni, the chief medical officer for South Kanto, for keeping her waiting. Eri reassures her, hands over a list of students being transferred, and asks her to confirm it. Eri thanks Mahiru, and they both walk past her as she watches them. Mahiru explains how she organized the list: the wounded, those with the least aptitude, those with high ranks, and the special cases. Eri tells her to continue since the list looks good, hoping the kids who've been fighting the unknowns can at least get a chance to rest. Gotoku praises Mahiru for her hard work, and tells her to wrap it up as usual. Mahiru bids them goodbye and leaves, while Eri questions Gotoku about Mahiru referring to the kids as perishable goods. He tells her not to glare at Mahiru and explains it's all to protect them. On a school morning in Tokyo, students are walking to school, chatting with each other, while some get off the buses. Ichiya, sitting on a bus, receives a call from Kosuke Hashibiro, which he ignores. He quickly messages Kosuke that he's on a bus. They chat back and forth, frustrating Ichiya, since Kosuke sends messages in a disjointed way, but the last message mentions they're on patrol shift for the Aqua Line. Kosuke calls Canaria via video, letting her know Ichika won't be coming for the shift, and that Ichika snapped at him when he messaged while only on voice mode. Kosuke tries to switch to video so he can see Canaria. Looking at her calendar, Canaria realizes it's the day students are getting transferred, which brings a smile to her face thinking of the good Ichika is doing. At Tokyo's third surgical hospital, Ichika tells him not to get the wrong idea, it's not a friendly visit. He just came to see the face of an inept amateur who's soon to be transferred. The boy smiles and replies that it's not a bad injury, and Okuni told him his ability probably won't improve anymore, looking downcast. Ichika talks down to him in a tsundere way, saying he's not suited for the battle curriculum. He asks if the boy will go back to his parents and if he's prepared gifts for them. The boy replies he will go back but has been stuck in the hospital due to his injury. Ichika hands him a bag of sweets he's holding and tells him to give it to his parents as gifts so no one will say a student with no manners is from Tokyo. Just then, a book about homecoming slips from his hand, and he quickly picks it up, telling the boy not to get the wrong idea. The boy smiles and comments that Ichika is hard to understand without Canaria around. Ichika leaves the boy's room and heads out, but he sees a doctor passing by and watches her from behind. In the Umihotaru area, where Tokyo students are patrolling on their flying staffs, Kosuke tells Canaria there's no issue and tries to flirt with her during the call. An emergency alert goes off as some unknown aircraft appear. The Tokyo students attempt to attack, but before they can, a giant tower-like unknown rises from the ocean. Eri and Gotoku meet with the heads and subheads to discuss the new tower-like unknown that's been discovered. They categorize it as Leviathan class and prioritize its destruction. The other heads and subheads blame Ichika for not joining the patrol, but Canaria defends him. After the discussion, Gotoku instructs everyone to prepare for dawn the next day, announcing that all 3 schools will attack at once, saying it's unlike anything they've seen before. Everyone leaves the meeting to get ready for the attack, while an angry Ichika goes to gather data on the new unknown and pick up strategy books to prepare for the mission. Canaria goes to meet Kosuke and the other students who were on patrol when the new unknown appeared, and they explain to her why they retreated. They ask Canaria why Ichika, their leader, wasn't on patrol before the boy he went to visit enters the room with his walking sticks. Ichika, in his room, picks up a picture book and starts looking at the pictures with a smile. He reaches the page where he wrote that he needs to get stronger to protect Canaria. Canaria runs to Ichia's room to find him, but discovers the page in the picture book where he wrote that he has to get stronger to protect her, which makes her happy. She picks up a pen and writes something in the book. As she continues searching for him, she notices that he has gone out the window and is heading toward the new unknown. Canaria runs back to where the other Tokyo students are to tell them what happened. Ichika reaches the Umihotaru area but doesn't see the unknowns. He lures them out by attacking the water surface, which makes the small aircraft emerge to attack him. He starts destroying all of them while the other Tokyo students arrive on their flying sticks, with 2 girls carrying Canaria on a small platform. Ichika annihilates all the little ones around and asks them why they've come. Canaria tells him they came to help, and the other students admire him for quickly taking out all the aircraft but mention that the big one isn't out yet. Suddenly, a giant tower-like unknown rises from the ocean and begins to unleash a massive energy beam, forcing Ichika and the others into a defensive stance to block the attack. After absorbing the hit, Ichika decides to team up with the other Tokyo students since many smaller unknown aircraft are still flying around. He starts instructing them, and their attack begins with Canaria boosting him to take down the giant unknown while the others handle the little ones. They keep attacking the unknowns, as Ichika tries to strike the giant while still deflecting the energy beam, all of them persevering as he moves closer to the giant unknown, while Canaria continues to sing and give her all for him. After a while, Canaria vomits blood and collapses, while Ichika gets pushed back by the energy beam since he's no longer fortified. When he looks back to ask why she stopped singing, he sees that she's unconscious. Immediately, the lower part of the giant unknown emerges from the sea, revealing a massive base that makes the previous tower-like structure look small. Ichika quickly tells them to retreat while trying to create a barrier to block the incoming attacks from the unknowns. Kasumi and Asuha rush toward the area on a bike while Kasumi checks Canaria's messages and calls Ichika stupid, making his sister laugh at him because he took off right when he saw the message. Haim and Hotaru also head over on a boat to help. Meanwhile, Ichika speaks to everyone on his intercom from a room at the Aqua Line, urging them to come save Canaria, who is unconscious and struggling to breathe. In a room at the Aqua Line, Ichika makes a call to the other leaders and assistants, asking for someone to come and save Canaria while the massive Ichika starts to express how powerless he feels and how he has to rely on others, which makes the other Tokyo students nearby feel down too. Canaria wakes up and tries to comfort him, but he stops her and asks why she always puts others before herself. The massive unknown creates a large breach in the building, causing all the students to panic, and it starts charging up its energy beam, but gets interrupted by a big attack from Haim. Hotaru, on the intercom, criticizes Ichika, who she thought was a proud, smart, and unpleasant man, but he isn't acting like himself. Asuha and Kasumi also arrive at the location. Kasumi tells Kosuke and another student who can ride a bike to take Canaria back while Ichika continues to blame himself. Kasumi approaches him, grabs his shirt, and tells him it's not the time for self-pity. He takes his gun and fires a smoke missile to clear the unknown aircraft from the road. Kasumi and Asuha begin attacking the nearby unknown aircraft, while Hime and Hotaru confront the large one. Hotaru is on a call with Aoi and 2 female members from Kanagawa School. She reassures them that she and Hime are okay and apologizes for for leaving them behind. Aoi asks about the Tokyo kids involved in the incident, and Hotaru replies they're all fine with minor injuries and drained auras, except for Kanaria, who is still unconscious. Ichiya and Kasumi sit facing each other, with Kasumi telling Ichiya he looks pathetic for continuing to put himself down, which Ichiya accepts without arguing. Kasumi points out how creepy it is that Ichiya is agreeing with everything he says. A call comes in from Gotoku, asking Ichiya to come to the control room. In the control room, Eri states they only asked Ichiya to come to ask why the other leaders and assistants were present. They give various excuses, and the meeting continues. Gotoku asks Ichiya if he understood everything he said the day before, to which Ichiya agrees, and then is asked why he acted on his own without waiting for orders. Ichiya admits he'll take full responsibility for his actions but tries to downplay it, prompting Gotoku to slap his face in disbelief. While the other leaders and assistants look shocked, Gotoku angrily advises him not to flatter himself. Ichiya quickly pleads for a chance to continue what he started, this time with everyone's help. Gotoku tells him to take that message to the others, not him. Eri then shares that Kanaria's condition is improving, which brings Ichiya some relief. Gotoku tells them to get going, and they all agree, moving out to start their preparations. Later that evening, in Kanaria's hospital room, Aoi enters to find Ichiya sitting beside Kanaria. Ichiya speaks to Aoi, asking her to stay with Kanaria until she wakes up. As he walks past her, he tells her to take care of Kanaria, and mentions her name, which surprises her because he usually doesn't remember her name. Outside at the front line, Ichiya addresses the Tokyo students with him, discussing his past mistakes, and stating he will take responsibility while asking for their strength. Kasumi listens in on the intercom, surprised at who is speaking, while his sister finds it funny. Hime also comments on the change, and Hotaru mentions he's tough to understand without Kanaria translating, telling them their target and boosting their battle spirits as they shout enthusiastically. Finally, he orders everyone to move out. As they all step out to face the unknown, he tells them they need to get under its armor and deal direct damage to defeat it, and he has a plan. Back at the hospital in Kanaria's room, Kanaria wakes up, which Aoi notices while reading a book. Kanaria tries to sit up, but Aoi stops her and says it's too soon. Aoi tells her she collapsed in battle, which makes Kanaria immediately ask about Ichiya and the others. Aoi reassures her that they're all fine and updates her on the situation. Kanaria inquires about Ichiya, and when Aoi doesn't give a direct answer, she assumes he's out fighting. At the front line, Ichiya continues to give orders according to his plan while everyone engages the unknowns. Asuha tells her brother Ichiya is giving her the creeps because he's making sense, which he agrees with. Hotaru and the Kanagawa students confirm everything is going well. At the hospital, Kanaria gets ready to join the battle, but Aoi tries to stop her, saying she can't fly. However, Kosuke and the other Tokyo students at the hospital come in to support her and carry her to the battle scene. At the front line, everyone continues to fight the massive unknown and the aircraft, following Ichiya's instructions. When the massive unknown is hit by Haim, it quickly tries to move away from the Kanagawa ship. Ichiya observes the damage and thinks it's impossible to destroy the unknown. Just as he's considering this, he and the other students are infused with Kanaria's reinforced power. He watches her combine her world abilities with AI's. After thinking for a moment, he flies toward Hime. He carries her and asks for her help, saying he will trust his power to her, and he tells her to use her biggest attack as he brings her closer to the massive unknown. As they get near, she begins her attack while Ichiya touches her sword, merging his power with hers to strike down the massive unknown. They eliminate all the unknowns on the battlefield, and the other students watch in awe as Kanaria faints into Aoi's arms. Ichiya, flying with Hime, tells Aoi he will carry Kanaria. Haim gives a victory speech to all the students from the Tri-City schools to lift their spirits as they scream and celebrate their win, while Ichiya flies toward the hospital with Kanaria on his back, telling her he's stronger now, which she confirms. He thanks her for everything she's done for him, and she responds with a big smile. In the control room, Gotoku and Airi receive Aoi's report and thank her for it. Gotoku notices that the coat on the back of her neck is glowing as she brushes her hair back, immediately asking her if she went into the no-entry zone. After the hospital checkup, Kanaria and Ichiya walk outside together. He tells her he'll request a demotion so she can become the new Tokyo head, and they continue their discussion. Gotoku checks all the students who went through the no-entry zone with Aoi and finds Kanaria among them. Eri rushes to call a meeting while Aoi looks confused and Gotoku looks worried, hoping Eri can reach her in time. A red unknown glow persists while Ichiya tells Kanaria she's the most important thing to him. Just as she's about to respond, bird wings cut through the air, and a sneaky unknown attack suddenly strikes her, creating a hole in the ground. Ichiya is in his room holding Kanaria's cap, looking at his picture book where Kanaria drew an emoji of herself. Seeing it, he calls her name and screams. Hotaru has a flashback to when she was younger at Hime's father's funeral, watching people comfort the trembling Hime, who is trying hard to appear strong. Back in the present, Eri and Gotoku update them on students who were victims of the unknown sneak attacks, which include Kanaria and 6 others, and they ask for help in Tokyo until the lost officials can be replaced. Kasumi questions their calmness about the incident and demands to know what kind of enemy they are dealing with. Gotoku replies that they're still investigating. Kasumi continues talking on behalf of the others, which his sister finds funny because he sounds like a leader, and he confirms that he is one. Hotaru asks for data on the incidents to get a clearer view, while Kasumi inquires about the Tokyo head since they need to work with him. Hime announces Kanagawa's full cooperation, which Hotaru agrees with. Kasumi says they will pass because he doesn't want to clean up after Ichiya's mistakes. Gotoku divides the tasks, which includes Chiba reinforcing the gates, while Kanagawa assists in managing Tokyo, which he declares as an order, despite Kasumi's grumbling. At the Tokyo Management Division, students discuss the incident and question what their leaders were doing during the attacks. Haim suddenly bursts in and declares herself the new head of Tokyo, insisting that the students do things her way. If they don't like it, they should get their leader. In the evening, Eri visits Haim at the top of the building, thanking her for her hard work. She pats Haim's head, telling her that there's only so much she can do and realizing how powerless she feels. She apologizes to Haim and Hotaru for offloading the work onto them. Haim reassures her that it's nothing, saying she's the right person for the job and will do her best. Eri thanks her again, and Hime responds that it's okay because she is strong. Haim addresses the students of Tokyo, who are still upset about losing Canaria, while some other students discuss their situation, interrupted by Kasumi, who suggests they join Chiba, but they decline his offer. One student even tries to hit him for disrespecting Tokyo, while others hold him back. Hime attempts to open the locked door but accidentally breaks the doorknob. She knocks, and it opens. They enter the room and offer him some snacks while he sits on the floor, looking very downcast. Haim starts to motivate him, telling him it's okay to be sad and to cry, but not in front of his subordinates. He says he's backing out of the battle and they shouldn't worry about him anymore, but she keeps urging him to think about saving the world. They have a brief argument as he screams that Canaria wasn't just a number to him. Haim apologizes and walks out of the room with Hotaru, telling him they are at war. They both head outside to an open space. Hotaru, noticing Hime's sadness, tells her she can cry in her presence because they're friends, not subordinates. Hime immediately breaks down in Hotaru's arms, calling for Canaria. After a while, she steadies herself, picks up her jacket, and tells Hotaru they have a lot to do. Hotaru advises her not to push herself, but Hime insists that she sees a world where everyone is smiling, and she won't let anyone die again. Kasumi enters Ichiya's room, talking about free food and his unemployment while Ichiya asks what he wants. Kasumi tells him to take responsibility if it concerns him, grabs him, and drags him out of the room as Ichiya tries to resist, but can't. In the control room, Aoi remembers waking up from the change of code surgery and the conversation between Mahiru, Gudaku, and Eri about her being the only survivor. Eri talks to Aoi, reassuring her not to worry and expressing her relief that Aoi is alive. She hands Aoi her glasses, and as their hands touch, Aoi suddenly gets a strange vision where everything turns red, causing the glasses to fall to the ground. Eri asks what's wrong, but Aoi says nothing. Aoi walks down the hallway when Hotaru calls her, asking about the details of what happened during the last operation, inquiring if Aoi noticed anything strange, but Aoi says she didn't. Hotaru mentions that she wants to check the route Aoi's group took on the day of the operation because they rushed to the battlefield and may have missed some important details, promising to investigate personally. Hotaru keeps pulling Aoi along as Aoi follows her hesitantly, warning that it might be dangerous, but Hotaru brushes off her concerns. Outside, they encounter Hime, who asks where they're headed. Hotaru informs her that they're going outside the city for an investigation and tells her to hold down the fort. Haim asks if they'll be alright, and Hotaru replies with a smile that she's strong too. Haim apologizes with a smile, and Hotaru assures her that if anything happens, she'll come back quickly. Haim responds that she'll be waiting, and they both smile while locking their pinky fingers together. Outside at the Aqualine patrol area, Asuha tells her brother that Ichiya is creepy, to which he responds that he regrets bringing him along. Asuha continues discussing Ichiya's creepiness, comparing him to Kasumi, and they also chat about Canaria for a bit. Suddenly, an emergency alert starts ringing, and unknown aircraft begin to appear. At the Tokyo school, a girl from Kanagawa starts calling for Aoi while looking around, which Hime hears. She asks Haim if she's seen Aoi, but before Haim can reply, the emergency alert goes off there too. The Tokyo students start to panic as they hear the alert. Haim quickly climbs to a high spot, giving the students a pep talk to not panic and to rally their fighting spirit. At the Aqualine defense line, Chiba students start firing at the unknown aircraft. One of the large unknowns shoots a beam at the Aqualine, destroying part of it and causing debris to fall where Ichiya is standing. Asuha contacts her brother to inform him that Ichiya is buried alive. Back at the Tokyo school, Haim is issuing orders to the students about what to do. While commanding them to support the Chiba students at the Aqualine battlefront, red lightning lights up the sky, and the sky suddenly turns red as the students watch the unfolding events in fear. Many unknown aircraft start descending as the codes on the necks of all the present students begin to glow, and they continue staring at the sky in fear as more unknowns appear. In outer space, a specific area on the Earth's surface appears red. An unknown humanoid floating there raises its hand, and a giant unidentified ship appears behind it, sending it down to attack the satellite below, which also destroys the force field that protects Earth from invaders. Hotaru drives through a ruined city with Ai in the car. Hotaru steers the car toward a no-entry zone. Aoi complains, but Hotaru assures her that she'll defeat any enemies that show up. Hotaru's code at the back of her neck begins to glow, and an unknown sneak attack occurs, which she destroys with her sword while still driving. She starts to think about this new type of unknown. Looking back, she sees the sky over Tokyo filled with red, and quickly drifts to turn around, with Aoi screaming while she remembers her promise to Haim. At a Tokyo school, many unknowns start coming out of the unknown portal in the red sky, and the students look up in fear. Suddenly, their codes all begin to glow, and the same unknown sneak attacks begin to fall on them, one by one, while the other students run around screaming and trying to escape. A massive unknown aircraft releasing sneak attacks appears in the sky. Haim saves a student who almost gets hit by a sneak attack, along with 2 girls from Kanagawa. She tries to motivate the students with a speech to lift their spirits, telling them that confusion creates openings, and those openings can upset their advantage. She keeps telling them not to lose their cool and to react with a clear head while instructing them on what to do. At the Aqualine frontline, Kasumi looks towards where Ichika is buried in rubble, only to realize that the unknowns are getting closer. As he tries to keep shooting at them, the debris covering Ichika explodes and scatters, damaging the nearby unknowns. Kasumi also looks at Ichika, who is now in a crazed state. Ichika screams about wanting to destroy the world since there's no one worth saving. He emits a powerful aura wave as he jumps into the air and attacks the unknowns, creating a large and wide-range effect that clears the water beneath, stunning Asuha. Kasumi, feeling out of the action, angrily keeps shooting. Asuha arrives on her bike, telling him that his crush is one-sided. She hands him a phone showing the emergency situation in Tokyo. Hotaru continues driving towards Tokyo but spots some unknowns approaching. She lets Aoi take over driving as she jumps onto the trunk to destroy the unknowns with her world ability. In Tokyo, the students keep fighting the unknowns, but are at a disadvantage due to the sheer number of enemies. Eri arrives at the battlefield calling for Haim and is attacked by unknown aircraft, which are destroyed by the 2 girls. Eri tells Hime that the non-combatant students have all boarded the train to evacuate. Hime immediately urges her to join them, but Eri hesitates, reluctant to leave the students behind. Haim hugs her and expresses understanding, but insists they can't let those in charge die. She tells Eri that she's like a mother to them all, and they'd be sad if she were gone. Eri apologizes for being selfish, and Haim holds her hand, guiding her to the train. Eri asks Haim to hold out for 40 minutes, promising she'll make good use of that time, and Haim agrees. Haim hands Eri a pendant to keep safe, not wanting it to get damaged. On the train, Irie holds Hime's pendant and recalls the day Hime awoke from cold sleep and everything that happened then. She remembers taking Haim to her former home and the image of someone important to her who wanted to protect the country. Haim picks up that person's cloak, vowing to work hard in their place, while she responds to Eri's earlier question about dreams. Eri reminisces about the time she and Gutoku celebrated Haim for reaching the top and her induction as a city head. Haim and the other students continue to battle the unknown enemies, but students are still being killed. Haim orders them to board the remaining trains so she can buy enough time. The 2 Kanagawa girls hesitate to leave, not wanting to abandon her to fight alone, but Hime reassures them it'll be okay since Hotaru is coming. She continues to fight the unknowns on her own, thinking about her family. Even though she takes some damage, she keeps going. Haim unleashes a massive sword energy attack, destroying one of the massive unknown aircraft's wings. She falls back to assess the situation, only to see the unknown aircraft pursuing the train. She throws her sword at them to destroy them as she lands where the train will pass. The girls reach out for Haim's hand as the train goes by, but she doesn't take their hands. She tells them someone has to hold off the enemy, while the girls watch her from the train. A building collapses and blocks the railway after the train passes, leaving only Haim in the city as she reminisces about her chats with Hotaru from when they were younger. She recalls the promise Hotaru made when they were separated to different shelters because of the war, saying they would meet again. Unknown humanoids descend from the aircraft, with one landing next to her sword while others surround her. She removes her cloak and declares that she won't let any of them pass and will show them the power of humanity. Aoi and Hotaru keep driving full speed toward Tokyo. Asuha is going wild, destroying anything that comes near her while Kasumi gets left behind because her motorcycle side detaches. Asuha, in her frenzy, Aoi drives on as Hotaru continues to battle the unknowns from behind and those surrounding them. She begins to remember locking pinky fingers with Hime and waking up from cold sleep. She recalls being taken in by a secret service directly linked to the administration, working behind the scenes for 3 defense cities before meeting Haim. As they drive, they encounter Kasumi on the road, abandoned by his battle-crazed sister. Hotaru doesn't want to waste time waiting, so she briefly listens to him before moving on, with Kasumi struggling to climb onto the moving vehicle. Aoi helps pull him in as they continue. Irie enters the control room where Gutoku asks if she's okay. One of the administration members updates them, mentioning a direct attack from the stratosphere. Haim continues to annihilate the unknown humanoids, shouting at them for killing so many people with so little power, claiming it's her territory as she releases a massive energy blast to wipe out all the nearby unknowns. The huge unknown aircraft she hit earlier takes off again, surrounded by several flying unknowns, including one that looks like their leader. At the administration base, someone starts breaking down the situation and damage, mentioning that all the unknowns scattered around Chiba and Kanagawa have pulled back, and the battle at Umihotaru is nearly over, but Tokyo remains a problem as he continues with updates. Irie keeps working on her device, informing them the barrier will reactivate in 845 seconds, hoping Haim can hold on until then. Hotaru keeps destroying unknowns as they race toward Tokyo. Hisumi, who's also shooting from the vehicle, states Hime has to be safe because if not, all of Kanto will be in danger, prompting Aoi to stop him from saying such insensitive things, which Hotaru responds to by saying they made a promise to each other. She thinks to herself about how Hime kept the promise she made when they were younger to wait wait for her, and indeed, Hime waited for 10 years as she reminisces about their reunion. Gotoku calls in to check on Aoi and Hotaru, asking if they're okay. Aoi asks what's been happening as Gotoku tries to explain the situation, telling them they're already bouncing back. He mentions that Hime is still fighting in Tokyo and risks a bad ending if she doesn't get help soon. Eri adds they need 300 more seconds and suggests they go help my Hime. Kasumi tells Aoi to stop the car, claiming he knows a faster way. They step out of the vehicle to look at a map, brainstorming how to reach their destination via the air. Asuha calls Kasumi, worried because he suddenly disappeared. She replies she's in Tokyo and describes her location. Kasumi tells Hotaru and Aoi to trust him and asks Asuha for help. In Tokyo, the boss of the humanoid unknowns unleashes an aura that boosts the unknown's power while weakening Haim, making her feel the fight will be tough. In the control room, updates about the reactivation at each point come in, and a countdown starts for the barrier reactivation. Kasumi's plan kicks off, and everyone begins to follow his instructions, with Hotaru charging ahead, thinking about Hime. Hime keeps fighting, but realizes she's growing weaker after hitting an unknown. She decides to attack the boss, but the aura repels her. As the plan enters its final stage, Asuha shoots a long ice line for Hotaru to run through the air towards Tokyo, while Hime struggles against the humanoid unknowns. They surround her, trying to finish her off, but she roars back that she's not done yet. Suddenly, a sneaky shot from an unknown sniper hits her code behind her neck, causing damage as the sniper vanishes. The other humanoid unknowns keep shooting at her until she can't fight back, gazing up at the sky and seeing a different world. One of the humanoid unknowns lifts her, but Hotaru saves her by destroying all the unknowns nearby. Hotaru cradles Hime, retreating to the top of a tall building while apologizing, as Hime smiles and calls out her name. The other humanoid unknowns keep attacking, and Hotaru carefully sets Hime down, starting to fight off the approaching unknowns. In the control room, Eri activates the barrier, causing the remaining unknowns to retreat into the sky while others provide updates on their tasks. Mahiru notices all of Hime's data is showing errors. As all the unknowns fall back, the last unknown aircraft targets them to crash into their location. Hotaru attempts to destroy it, but Hime stops her, saying something's wrong as she crushes the code behind Hotaru's neck. Hotaru starts searching around as Kasumi keeps an eye on everything through his gun's scope. She looks toward him, calls his name, and whispers something before slashing at his gun's scope from a distance, just as the unknown aircraft crashes down on them. Kasumi and Aoi continue watching as the unknowns fully retreat, and the sky returns to normal while Aoi calls for Hotaru and Hime, yelling. The two Kanagawa girls, along with other students from Kanagawa, start to mourn for Hime and Hotaru, regretting not staying behind to help her. Kasumi and Asuha sit on a bridge, watching the mourning students. Kasumi looks around for a moment before telling Asuha that it's time. She replies, okay, but when he tries to talk, she tells him not to apologize since it's not his fault. She stands up, says she'll take care of the rest, and reminds him that they should head back. Kasumi picks up his gun, preparing to leave, while she looks at the incident site and bids farewell to Hime and Hotaru. Meanwhile, Mahiru updates Gotoku and Eri on the casualties from the incident, stating that 219 people are injured, while the dead and missing are still unconfirmed. She continues, saying the Kanagawa camp suffered the biggest loss, losing their top forces and chain of command. Eri and Gotoku look sad as Mahiru asks what they plan to do next. Gotoku suggests asking Aoi, who is in the room, to take over management of Kanagawa. Kasumi tries to stop them, questioning if she isn't just a machine part. Asuha agrees to take on the job, while Eri apologizes, saying she doesn't want to put them in danger and asks them to trust her. The word family resonates with Kasumi, recalling memories of when his parents were alive and how much younger they all were. He shares his opinion on their situation, noting they don't have enough force to cover the sea, and he doesn't want to take on more work. Mahiru acknowledges his opinion as valid and supports it, but Gotoku tries to counter him. Mahiru stands firm, instructing them to transfer Asuha inside. Asuha protests that she isn't going, while Kasumi provides reasons for her to stay, and ends with his personal reason for not wanting his sister to leave. Mahiru tells them it's an order from headquarters, and Gotoku immediately complies, mentioning they will consider scaling down the battle line. Mahiru asks Asuha to meet her privately, and she quickly stands to follow her out of the room, while Gotoku instructs Kasumi and Ai that he has work for them, buying off Kasumi with his transaction card since Kasumi looks disgusted by the task. In another room, Mahiru asks Asuha to think carefully about headquarters' offer and questions why she wants to reject it. She attempts to draw out her reasons while mentioning the possibility of her brother following her inside, but after some time, Asuha declines the offer, apologizes, and walks away from the conversation. An angry Mahiru lets out a heavy sigh as she disposes of the 2 cups of coffee they didn't touch during their talk. Kasumi walks through the hallway. He sees Ichika resting against the wall in his path. He tries to walk past normally, but Ichika grabs his hand and pushes him against the wall, angrily asking about the idea of scaling down the battle line. Ichika expresses that Kasumi dragged him to the battlefield, saying the only reason he has to live is to fight and take out those who killed Canaria, all while gripping Kasumi's shirt in frustration. Kasumi finally replies to Ichika after a while, telling him he doesn't care what he wants. He asks if Ichika feels better before walking away. Ichika, frustrated and angry, punches the wall and declares he won't accept how they do things or the world. Kasumi heads back to his room and finds Asuha working on her computer. She then asks what they're having for dinner, and when he says he'll be eating out, she begins asking all about it, guessing who he'll eat with, as they chat like normal siblings. The next day, Kasumi and Aoi check on the progress of the Kanagawa students, who are busy clearing out a battle-affected area, while the Chiba students are just goofing off. They tease Kasumi, asking if he's on a date and joking about his sister finding out, poking fun at his sister complex. As they walk on, he apologizes to Aoi for his friend's sense of humor, and she starts asking about his relationship with his sister and his reasons for fighting, while sharing her own reasons. Asuha, bored with her work, stands up and goes out to get something to eat. She spots her brother and tries to call out to him, but stops when she sees Aoi with him, walking together, which surprises her. She ends up following them throughout the day until evening. After they finish their work, she asks Kasumi what he wants to do next, and he casually replies that he just wants to eat dinner and go home. This makes her wonder if he thinks she was trying to invite him somewhere. They run into Eri, Gotoku, and Mahiru, and Aoi calls them over as she jogs toward them. Mahiru approaches Kasumi and asks for his help in convincing his sister to come inside, offering him good deals, and mentioning the injury on his face from Hotaru before she and Hime crashed into him. She hands him a note, asking him to meet her somewhere private before walking away. Kasumi quickly shoves the note in his pocket just as Aoi catches up to him, telling him she'll join them because something came up. He reassures her not to worry since their work is done, and she bows, saying goodbye before joining Gotoku and Eri, who wrap an arm around her shoulders. Kasumi watches them and is reminded of his family. He turns to look at the damaged scope of his gun that Hotaru cut, recalling her claim that the world is fake. Asuha sneaks up from behind, holding his arm and teasing him about getting dumped while they continue their sibling banter. After dinner at home, Kasumi, who is doing the dishes, notices the time and gets ready to meet Mahiru at the designated place. He checks Asuha's code behind her neck while she complains about how embarrassing it is. He puts on his jacket and tells her not to follow him because he's off to a secret date. He leaves the house, and after a bit, Asuha comes out too, and he smiles at her. At Mahiru's place, she's watching a clip of Hotaru speaking before the unknown aircraft crashed into them. The doorbell rings, and she sees Kasumi outside. She lets him in, and hands him a cup of coffee while asking how much he knows, mentioning the message Hotaru left for him. He starts to feel dizzy as she begins hitting him, saying she'll end him because he knows the world is fake. In a panic, he throws a cup at her, but she displays a power that surprises him. She continues hitting him, damaging his code. Eventually, Asuha walks in and shoots Mahiru with her freezing gun. She rushes to her brother with tears in her eyes, pointing her gun at the frozen Mahiru, ready to kill her. Kasumi stops her and shoots Mahiru himself, shattering her frozen state. He collapses against her shoulder, bleeding, while Asuha, tears streaming down her face, gently lays him on the ground and uses her heat gun to incinerate the remains of Mahiru. Asuha takes Kasumi home, tends to his injuries, and feeds him. During the meal, Kasumi removes the dressing from his second eye and notices everything looks red as he struggles to understand what's happening. Everything he sees appears red, but everything looks normal when he covers one eye. She asks how he's doing, answering that his vision isn't the problem. However, he notices that as he casually rubs his neck, his vision is shaking. Kasumi reassures his sister not to worry and asks her what happened with Okuni. She shares the information she heard from the window. She mentions they might get called up too, and he responds by patching one eye, saying they need to be ready for anything. Asuha tries to leave, but Kasumi pulls her back to the bed, cautioning her not to trust the administrative officers and explaining why. She steps out of his room to get ready while he walks to the window and removes his patch, looking outside and declaring that this world is fake. Asuha walks into the living room, smiling at how her brother held her earlier, but then hears a noise from his room. She rushes in to see him getting dressed, and he picks up his guns, telling her he wants to check some things and she can't follow. He adds that if things go wrong, she should team up with Yaegaki or Ichiya, which she complains about. He jumps out of the window while she looks out, questioning why he can't use the door like everyone else. Kasumi walks through a ruined city, making some noise but finding no enemies. He enters a building to use a computer and searches a database, but doesn't find anything related to what he's looking for or any locked data, eventually discovering a secret spot filled with books. He looks through the books and finds information about the codes behind their necks, adaptability coefficients, erosion rates, and more. Ichiya sits at the edge of the area where Canaria was killed near the sea, talking to himself when Asuha approaches from behind. He immediately asks what she wants. She inquires about what he's doing and tells him they should defend a city together. He begins to belittle her and her brother's way of communicating, asking about her brother. She tells him he'll be away for a while. As she speaks to him, she expresses her hope that he'll help her protect the cities. He coldly replies that it has nothing to do with him, prompting her to snap back, stating it's fine, since he was only fighting for Canaria before. An emergency alert sounds as Asuha rushes to fight. She pauses to tell Ichiya that her brother sees him as a true hero, which confuses her, then runs off, leaving Ichiya to continue his delusional chat with Canaria. In the command room, Aoi gets updates from students that the attack they're facing is unlike any before, as she studies the situation on the digital map. Asuha rushes in to ask about what's happening, and the girls at the map inform her that the enemies might reach them soon. She suggests she will go to the front lines to take out enemies while Aoi should manage the rest, which Aoi deems a reckless plan, asking for a specific strategy. Ichiya then walks in, criticizing the Chiba students' logic, and starts giving orders. He sends out everyone capable while Aoi begins relaying the instructions he provided through the communication device. Students move out, starting to shoot at the unknown foes, while Kasumi rushes from the ruined area to join them. Asuha fires at the enemies, grumbling that the battle would be easier with her brother present, but the students around her tell her it probably wouldn't make a difference. She looks at the boss and thinks to herself that she really needs her brother given the situation they're facing. At a location on the battlefront, a female Chiba student tries to rescue an adult from the fight. The unknown is taken out by Ichika, who joins the battle. He attempts to attack but is held back by the adult, who urges him to retreat with him to avoid losing more talented students like himself. As they face a sniper attack, Ichika struggles to break free from the adult's grip. He manages to block the first shot, but the adult gets shot in the head and dies. Furious, Ichika immediately identifies the shooter and jumps toward Kasumi's position. He confronts Kasumi, demanding an explanation. Kasumi claims he was trying to protect Ichika, asking if he believes him. Enraged, Ichika attacks Kasumi, who retaliates. The unknown boss glances at Kasumi, disregards him, and prepares to leave. Ichika, growing angrier due to Kasumi's words and actions, launches an attack on him. Meanwhile, at the front line, Asuha is firing at an unknown boss, wishing it would be easier if her brother were there. The second boss, having left Kasumi and Ichia's area, joins the battle with her. During the skirmish, one of the bosses cuts the code behind her neck, causing her to collapse as her vision begins to blur between realities. Other students start retreating to the train for escape to the administration, but the railway is blocked by humanoid unknowns, leaving them feeling hopeless while Ichika continues fighting Kasumi. Ichia's attack sends them crashing into a building from the top floor as he keeps hitting Kasumi. After some back and forth, Ichika restrains him while one of the unknown bosses enters from above. Kasumi warns him about it, but Ichika insists he'll handle it after defeating Kasumi. Unable to fight back, Kasumi begins humming Kanaria's song, which prompts Ichika to yell at him to stop, while the unknown boss picks up Kanaria's hat and embraces it. Kasumi ceases singing, but the melody carries on as Ichika, now in tears, starts questioning why he can still hear it. He glances back, asking the unknown boss if it's the one singing. The boss moves closer, hugs him, and destroys the code behind his neck. When Ichika opens his eyes again, he sees Kanaria, who tells him it's been a while, and that he should smile when someone says that. Ichika walks out with Kanaria and Kasumi trailing behind him, only to encounter a red world filled with ruins. He asks Kanaria what this world is. Kasumi sits across from Kanaria and Ichika, who is still trying to wrap his head around the whole situation in a helicopter. Kanaria tells him to look outside, and he sees lots of helicopters in the air and ships in the sea while she explains that they came to save them from Japan, something he's still trying to process. Asuha talks with Hotaru and Hime on a ship, calling the situation humiliating while Hime explains everything to her. Ai comes up from below deck, and Hime immediately hugs her as Kasumi, Kanaria, and Ichika come down from the helicopter. Kasumi walks over to where his sister and the others are gathered. Their conversation is interrupted by a woman who says she'll explain. She introduces herself as Johannes, their mother, whom Kasumi immediately recognizes, but Asuha doesn't. She continues by saying she's the commander-in-chief of the ongoing military operation, making some childish gestures that make Kasumi wonder why she's acting this way at her age. She calls Kasumi and Asuha forward, hugging them and telling them she won't let them fall into the hands of demons again, while Kanaria talks to Ichika, who looks downcast in a room alone with her. The kids enter the command room without Kanaria and Ichika. Johannes calls for their attention and gives them a rundown of the entire situation using a digital map beside her. She names their army the Johannes Army while her assistant hypes up every little detail she mentions. The kids ask whatever they want to know, and Johannes and her assistant answer their questions. Kasumi tells her he has the data from Okuni, making Johannes proud and happy because her son found the truth on his own. Asuha requests a clearer explanation, and Johannes tells them that they were raised by the unknowns and forced to fight real humans. Then goes on to recount the story from 30 years ago, explaining how the unknown took human kids and implanted fake histories in their minds. She discusses why some parents abandoned their kids, saying those who didn't were wiped out by the unknowns. Eri walks up to Gotoku, who's in a church staring at a statue. He tells her there's no need for a barrier anymore. He turns to Eri, saying humans know how to take care of themselves, and asks if she'd consider running far away with him. She declines because of the children. They continue to talk like lovers, and she asks if he regrets staying with her. He says he regrets nothing, which she thanks him for, admitting she hoped a day like this would come because she truly loved the children. In a room on Johannes' ship, Ichika asks Kanaria if she learned the truth about the world the day she was captured. Kanaria starts explaining everything to him while recounting all the work she did. He begins to say he didn't know she was alive all this time, convinced that the humans trying to save them were their enemies. He admits he thought he was fighting for and protecting Kanaria, calling himself a fool for believing in that fantasy. Kanaria reacts to everything he says with a lovesick expression, calling him her hero. Ichika starts to vent, saying he doesn't want to see Kasumi or look him in the face because he's so embarrassed. He asks Kanaria what he should do now, and she tells him to start doing anything, emphasizing that he's not alone anymore, while they continue their love-related conversations and gestures. In the command room, Johannes shows the guaranteed to kill unknown cannon to Asuha and Kasumi, who mentions that she has no sense of naming. She explains the cannon's ability to destroy enemies, but reminds them that there are still kids in the cold room that need to be rescued before they can destroy the unknown base. She moves closer to Asuha to hold her from behind. After their discussion, Asuha asks if she can touch the cannon while running towards it. Johannes tells her that dinner will be ready when she gets back, which makes her blush before she runs off. Johannes and Kasumi engage in some family talk about who is acting like whom in the family. family. Aoi interrupts them, asking what their next move is. Johannes replies that they will first save the remaining children in the cold room before taking out all the remaining unknowns, explaining why they must eliminate them. Aoi tries to defend those who raised her, suggesting there must be a mistake, but Johannes insists she's still trapped in a nightmare and will eventually awaken from the tainted illusion they're in. He walks towards Aoi, holding her, and tells her the kids don't have to fight anymore. In the dining room, Hime starts talking about Aoi and how confused she and some other students are, feeling down. Hotaru hugs her head to console her. Suddenly, a video message from Johannes pops up, surprising them. Johannes addresses the Johannes army, saying that Kasumi retrieved the unknown's classified data, which she celebrates. Ichika and Canaria talk about Eri and Gotoku, thinking they must be hiding, while Canaria compares their situation to his because he's hiding from Kasumi. Ichika gets angry and scolds her by holding her cheeks. Toward the end of Johannes' speech, the vice commander alerts that enemies are approaching. Asuha, sitting outside on the cannon's muzzle and thinking about her mom, stands up when she sees the strange unknowns coming. The unknown aircraft fires at them, but they launch the barrier before getting hit. Some students hide out of fear, while Aoi sits in a dark corner, shivering and clutching a choker necklace she received from Ieri. Ichia rushes out of the room he shares with Canaria, thinking about how long they'll be at the unknown's mercy. Kasumi announces he's going out to fight, but she tells him it's unnecessary. He interrupts her protests with their family's motto as he walks out. Asuha tries to follow him, but is held back by her mom, who grips her hand and tells her to stay put. She looks for excuses but can't come up with any, breaking free from her mom's grasp to run after her brother. Outside, Hime and Hotaru start taking down unknowns, while Asuha complains about not understanding the whole situation and finds it a hassle. The soldiers outside continue shooting at the unknowns from their machines. Another unknown aircraft attacks Kasumi, who is sniping from an exposed position. The unknown shoots at him, but he dodges the shot, only to be caught off guard by the resulting shockwave. The unknown tries to shoot at Kasumi again, but Ichia blocks the shot, holding Canaria in one hand while fending off the attack with the other, and then destroys the unknown aircraft with a massive hit while Canaria interprets his words differently. Ichia approaches Kasumi, who is still seated on the ground, extending his hand while looking away. Kasumi takes his hand and stands back to back with him as Ichia demands an explanation of what's happening. They discuss it while Kasumi shoots at an unknown aircraft near his sister, who smiles at him. Ichia tells Kasumi he's simple-minded and declares he won't retire until he saves the world. He charges toward the enemies while Kasumi smiles and calls him a delusional hero. Gotoku tells Eri that the scouting party from headquarters has started fighting, and she says they can finally wrap up their work. Standing behind her, Gotoku admits he looks forward to the fight because she looks beautiful when she's engaged. He holds her hands and tells her that her body is the most compatible with his. While they hold hands, Gotoku says that her choice represents evolution, but she replies that she simply didn't want to die. She expresses that they don't even know what type of creatures they are anymore, making them the real unknown. She realized this when they worked with the kids, whom they initially viewed as tools, but Gotoku reminds her that she was happy back then. She asks if she can still be happy, and Gotoku responds that it's the very reason they are fighting as she rests her head on his shoulder. In the command room, she immediately begins giving instructions to her team before heading out, telling the vice commander to take over. He asks where she's going, and she tells him she wants to pick up her kids because she's worried about them. Ichia flies through the sky, destroying unknown aircraft while Kasumi takes shots from the ship. The other kids also continue to attack the unknowns, and Johannes informs them that those are the adults they lived with before. In the cold sleep room, Eri and Gotoku enter, and Eri kills all the adults there. She tells Gotoku that killing her kind doesn't bother her, which makes her feel less human. She explains that she is the anchor and gatekeeper, and her death will impact the portal. At the battlefield, confused Ichia asks for a better explanation, and Johannes clarifies that the unknowns didn't come to steal territory or resources. They want to alter the human children's bodies to look like their own, and then possess them to create a new breed of monsters. Aoi tries to make Johannes see that Gotoku and Irie are different because they have cared for them and taught them important things. Ichia also chimes in, stating they've seen a different world, questioning if the one they're witnessing now isn't different. Johannes insists it's the truth, but tells them she won't force them to fight. She instructs them to go inside where it's safe. The command station staff starts to make arrangements for their cannon that can destroy all the unknowns, while Johannes tells her kids it will be a piece of cake compared to when they fought the kids. As Johannes and her children reach the cannon launch room, the powerful cannon is prepared for use. She starts ranting about how she feels just before hitting the launch button. The cannon fires a massive beam that obliterates many unknown aircraft. As they get ready to launch another attack, an unknown craft breaches their barrier and fires at them, causing damage to the ship, and Johannes gets injured. Kasumi and Asuha jump up to help their mother and check on her. Johannes struggles to reach the launch button, telling her kids that she will protect them this time. She hits the button, but the attack fails because the ship has been damaged. Kasumi supports her as she falls, saying that's not what matters, and tells Asuha that they should go. Meanwhile, the control room members report to the vice commander about the enemies, while he glances back to see the injured commander and her kids coming down an elevator. Johannes tells them that she doesn't really care anymore since she got her kids back, but she also says she can't think that way because she's an adult. She tells the vice commander to stick to the usual plan before going unconscious. Johannes ends up in the hospital getting treated while Asuha talks to Kasumi about being their mother. She mentions she vaguely remembers things when they were together, and he reminds her that she was very little back then, telling her to start being a mommy's girl as they continue their easy sibling chat. Asuha leaves the room while Kasumi puts a hat on her, saying he'll be borrowing her army for a bit. After they leave, Johannes takes the hat, smiling as she thinks about how well her kids have grown. Aoi looks at the unknown portal from her ship, thinking of Eri and Gotoku, while Hime sits on the ship looking up. Hotaru approaches her and sits behind her, their backs to each other. Haim starts talking about how everyone wants to protect something, and tells Hotaru she wants to protect what everyone in the world is fighting for, thinking of all the people she knows. Hotaru says it may be tough, but Hime stands up and insists it's to save the world. The unknowns start moving again, and the vice commander instructs the team to use a barrage to buy some time as Asuha and Kasumi walk in. He asks about the commander, and Kasumi assures him she'll be fine. He approaches the vice commander to ask if he has a plan, but the vice commander admits he doesn't. Kasumi says he has an idea, but the vice commander immediately shoots it down because the commander already said the kids shouldn't fight anymore, which the kids later threaten him with at gunpoint as they start making decisions. Haim stands outside, rallying the other students from the 3 schools, pumping up their battle spirits. She tells them what they're doing isn't revenge, but rather a way to confirm their identity and save the world. Asuha calls Hime to give her info on the route they're taking while Hotaru asks about the plan, which Kasumi describes as a diversion and ambush. Kasumi calls Canaria, asking her and Ichia to meet somewhere. Ichia complains and rants about why he fights and the point of them fighting in this world. Kasumi tells him to try to look cool in front of the woman he loves, calling him a delusional hero and reminding him there are only 8 minutes left to join them. The Tokyo students on their flying sticks open the window where Ichia is, and Kosuke tells him they're nothing without him, and that he's their leader. He grabs Canaria and flies away. Ichia meets the other heads and subheads on a boat, where they greet him casually while he calls them simple-minded. Kasumi starts explaining the plan to them, and they discuss how to make it work. They decide to split into 2 groups. They steer the boat in the direction they're going, and Canaria walks over to Ichia, talking about when Johannes saved her and how she had to fight the people she loved. She also tells him that she fights because she loves him. At the Unknown's base, they notice the kids are arriving. Eri thanks Gotoku for his help, as he made it possible for her to see such a beautiful world before she walks away. The kids reach the base area, and Ichia starts instructing them on the established plans. They all rush forward to put the plans into action while the other kids hold hands to confront the unknown aircraft on the battlefront line. The kids at the unknown base split up as planned, with Haim and Hotaru taking an elevator down to the cold sleep room, while the others continue searching the base, only to find some dead unknown beings. Haim and Hotaru reach the entrance to the cold sleep room, which Hotaru destroys. Ichia breaks through the entrance to where Gotoku is, and tells them that a parent doesn't run away from their kids while drinking from a can. He smiles and asks them what's wrong, standing there and telling them they can't see him as an unknown form because he's human and always has been. In the cold room, Hime and Hotaru find many capsules with kids inside, and a golden ray of light in the center. Suddenly, they see a large humanoid unknown descending from the ray of light, and they prepare to fight it while wondering what it could be. The scene starts with Gotoku in an alley, where he stumbles and sees things shaped like humans. He walks toward a dark place, looking up to see a very bright light. As he moves into the light, he removes his shades and sees Eri naked, asking why she looks human, only to get stabbed in the stomach by an unknown figure. He wakes up lying naked with his head in her lap. She asks how he feels and tells him they can communicate through their minds. She asks him what she looks like, and he replies that he doesn't know how to answer. Back to the present, the kids confronting Gotoku ask why he is working with the enemy, even though he is human. Gotoku tells them it's not because he hates humanity or the world, but because he cares about them. He warns them he won't let them destroy the gate because he still has an outstanding loan on it, and they should wait until it's paid off. Ichia tells him to stop joking, and threatens to destroy him and the gate if he doesn't step aside. The kids activate their powers, but Gotoku reminds them that he warned them to be careful with their enemies, and suddenly they can't use their powers anymore. Aoi approaches Gotoku and apologizes for not being able to betray Eri and Gotoku. He tells her there's no going back, which she says is fine. She removes her glasses and explains to the other kids how her power can block them from using their worlds. Gotoku whispers some things into her ear, and she immediately runs away. Kasumi tells Asuha to follow her, while Canaria joins in the chase. Ichia and Kasumi prepare to confront Gotoku, who is trying to persuade them to join him without their abilities. In the cold sleep room, Hime and Hotaru start fighting the unknown being in the room, but their attacks don't seem to affect it. Meanwhile, Ichia charges at Gotoku to hit him but gets hit back. Kasumi fires at him, but he catches the bullet before transforming part of himself into an unknown form. Across the room, Asuha enters and tells Aoi to stop giving them headaches. Aoi apologizes as she comes out of hiding, insisting she won't let them win or give up. Asuha starts shooting at her, but Aoi dodges while getting closer. Aoi counters Asuha's attacks, breaking her left arm before retreating, while Asuha continues to shoot with her right hand. Aoi reminds her that her ability connects minds, allowing her to predict Asuha's attacks. She also tells Asuha she's lucky. Asuha calls her disgusting and keeps shooting while Canaria runs in the darkness. Haim and Hotaru persist in fighting the unknown being, which continues to overpower them, while Gotoku watches Eri fighting after having beaten down Kasumi and Ichia. Ichia questions Gotoku's humanity, humanity, to which Gotoku responds by asking what makes them human, since humans don't have the powers they do. Kasumi shoots at him, but he catches the bullet. Ichika asks why he sided with the unknown and allowed them to do what they did to his body. Gotoku replies that he already told them he encountered a goddess and had fun when they were all together. Canaria looks around and realizes she got lost while searching for the other girls. Meanwhile, Kasumi and Ichika are pinned to the wall by Gotoku's energy, while Aoi is choking Asuha and holding her down. Haim and Hotaru are already defeated. Haim looks at the unknown entity and acknowledges its strength, noting that their attacks don't work on it. Hotaru lies on the ground, injured on both arms. As Canaria gets closer to the gate, she starts to sing. Gotoku wonders how she managed to approach it, and Ichika offers a possible explanation. Gotoku insists that her proximity doesn't change anything since she can't impact it, which frustrates Ichika. He walks against Gotoku's pressure, pondering how he can protect her and the whole world if her safety is at stake. Haim, hearing Canaria's song, encourages Hotaru to stand up so they can work towards a better world. Hotaru rises, holding her sword in her mouth since she can't use her arms anymore. Aoi keeps Asuha pinned down, but as Asuha starts to lose consciousness, Aoi's thoughts drift to how alone she felt during the unknown disaster. Asuha headbutts her and slams her to the ground, choking her until she passes out. She stands and looks at the unconscious Aoi, expressing her hatred for her missed opportunity to strike when she had the chance. Their powers return as Canaria continues singing, and Ichika activates his abilities to attack Gotoku. Haim uses her strongest ability to hit the unknown they are fighting. In the midst of the attack, Hime remembers her conversation with Eri from her younger days about dreaming of the future. She recalls Eri's hope to have a child and her wish to die feeling satisfied with her life while they chatted. Back in the present, Hime stabs the unknown with her energy swords in its abdomen. The unknown places a hand on her head as it disintegrates into the atmosphere, and Hotaru rushes toward her to check if she's okay. Haim reassures her she's fine, only to spot the pendant she had given Eri on the ground. Gotoku, still locked in energy combat with Ichika, declares that Eri is dead, the gate is destroyed, and the admin tower that is part of her will soon fall. He then stops channeling his power, allowing Ichia's massive energy blast to strike him. As a unit member in the command room, informs the vice commander and others that the dimensional hole has stopped functioning, causing everyone to cheer and celebrate. Asuha rushes to her brother's side and asks if he's okay. Ichika tells them to hurry and tells the others to leave the building as he flies off to find Canaria. Canaria is running down the disintegrating stairs when she nearly falls, but Ichika catches her and scolds her a bit. He tells her he heard her song loud and clear, which makes her happy. The kids watch the tower falling gradually from a distance. Haim asks about Aoi, but is told she took off. Ichika mentions all they've achieved and tells them that Kanto is free, while the other heads and subheads look down sadly. Inside the crumbling tower, the injured Gotoku comes down to where Ai is lying to carry her. He sees a spirit like Eri, who tells him to take care of Ai. He asks if she will let him die with her, but she insists they have to leave Aoi with at least one parent. Gotoku carries Aoi and jumps out of the place, saying he has no choice. In Johannes' hospital room, Aoi thanks Ichika and Canaria and tells them they can go back to the place where real humans are. Ichika mentions they aren't real humans too and states he's not going, saying he will fulfill his role as the Tokyo head. After a while, Kasumi and his sister enter to see their mom, while Ichika and Canaria exit the room. Haim and Hotaru make a gravestone for Eri and discuss it for a bit until the others join them to put more flowers on the grave. They all talk about what to do next, and Ichika shares what he told Johannes, which Haim agrees with. Kasumi mentions he told his mom he's leaving and isn't doing what they are doing. Walking away, Ichika and Canaria stand in front of the grave, as Canaria tells him he looks like the Iken she loves, then asks what she looks like to him, and he responds, "At this point, we have reached the end of our video. If you like it, do not forget to put the like button and subscribe for more new videos.